Hey, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Carissa.
You're not watching the Disney Channel right now.
You're listening to
Dreadfully Twisted.
Hello guys, we're back again this week.
We're back again with another crazy story.
Is it crazy?
It's pretty crazy.
Is it as crazy as the submarine?
Oh, let's get into that real fast. Hold on a second.
All I know, I just saw something before you came over that they imploded.
Yeah, I just seen that. Yeah, I just seen that like 13 minutes, or like whenever I was at home, like right before I came over, they just posted it on like, I see it on Google. Whenever I searched up, did they find? I just wanted to like see if they like the update.
I've been following it on TikTok.
Yeah. I like searched up, did they find the submarine, submergible thing? And I seen that it imploded, and I was like, oh, well, that's
really sad. I was hoping that they would like be alive and they would find like the last second on the the oxygen levels or whatever. But like, I don't know. Like, did it implode like on the way down there then?
I don't know. I want to know exactly what happened.
I think it's a cover up.
I think so too.
Shh, I didn't say that. That was your subconscious talking, not me.
It was the voices inside of your head.
Yep. Okay, now on to the crazy story for this week.
Besides the submarine, here's another crazy story to add the fuel to the fire.
I'm anxious.
Okay, but I did want to pick a case that wasn't too depressing this week. So, like, stay tuned for a kind of happy ending.
But it's still depressing.
It is still depressing. Okay, here we go. Get ready for this.
I'm ready.
Frank Edward Ed Ray was born on February 26, 1921 in, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, La Grande, California. His parents, Frank Sr. and Marie Ray, were a young couple navigating the world on their own terms. They decided to move to Chowchilla, California when Ed was young because they wanted their son to grow up amongst friends and obtain the best possible education that Ray's family could afford. Ed graduated from Chowchilla High School in 1940, and the first time in his life, Ed was forced to truly consider what he wanted to do from that point forward. He decided that he was not quite ready to leave Chowchilla and the comfort of having his family nearby, so he decided to buy a farm close by. At the farm, he grew cops. No, he did not grow cops. That is not even possible. He did not grow cops.
Cops grow trees, now guys.
He did not grow the police. Okay.
That was great. That was great.
Okay, he grew crops, and raised cows along with other animals for a considerable amount of time. Though Ed loved his farm and the work that it provided him with, he had felt as though there was something missing from his life, something that was even more fulfilling. Ever since Ed was young, he had always seemed to have a love for his community. So in the early 1950s, Ed decided to try a new career that would allow him to give back to the community. Ed became a bus driver for Chowchilla's local school district, where he spent every weekday, picking up the children from their homes, dropping them off at the Dairyland Elementary School, and driving them all the way home at the end of the school day.
I think I know this case.
Do you? Have you heard this one?
I think so.
Ed found this job a lot more fulfilling as his schedule was extremely consistent, until one day his life changed forever. Dun dun dun.
Oh no.
The children on Ed's route were all Chowchilla locals. Chowchilla. Forgive me.
However you pronounce it.
Yeah, talking is hard, so forgive us. In fact, most of them were even the grandchildren of his own former classmates from back in the day when he attended Dairyland Elementary School himself. And of course, as a bus driver, all the children were familiar with Ed, and most of them even looked forward to seeing him at the start of their days. The children on Ed's route were anywhere from 5 to 14 years old, and they all treated him with the utmost respect. But no one could expect what was to come. Okay.
I think
Gotta
I know
prepare
this
myself
case.
for this one. Okay.
This happened in 1920 or no? When did this? No, wait.
No,
he was
1976.
But he was born in 1921.
He was born. Yeah, he was born in 1921.
Yeah, I think I know this case. I think I do.
On the afternoon of July 15th, 1976, Ed was driving his usual route to drop off students back at their homes after their second to last day of summer school for the year. Within the bus, there were 19 girls and 7 boys. As Ed navigated down the familiar roads of Chowchilla, approaching the first of his intended stops in his route, he noticed something peculiar. Peculiar.
That word is hard.
It is hard. It is a hard word. Just ahead of the bus on the usually open road was a singular white van stopped in the middle of the route. As Ed approached the site, he noticed that there was another white van nearby. It appeared as though the white van in the middle of the road was having some kind of difficulty and was effectively stuck blocking traffic. Ed, being the ever so helpful man that he was, pulled to a stop just in front of the van and looked around for its owner to see if they were having any engine troubles. As Ed shifted gears and put his foot on the brake, he saw 3 men, here's another hard word, simultaneously, there we go, simultaneously exiting the van in front of him. Ed instantly felt sick to his stomach, but it was all too late. The 3 men each held guns in their hands and wore pantyhose over their face to disguise their identities.
I know this
you
case.
Do? I was going to say it's probably going to click whenever I read this.
Yep.
Before Ed could react, the 3 gunmen made their way onto the school bus, and one of them pressed a gun to Ed's temple. In his ear, the gunman told Ed to move away from the steering wheel without any trouble, or he would be shot. Ed, with his hands raised, moved out of the way so that one of the gunmen could take control of the bus.
Just imagine if that was happening to you. That would be terrifying.
It would be terrifying. Like, you're just a bus driver taking these kids. First of all, imagine how scared you would be for all those kids on the bus.
Exactly.
Like,
and like you said, there was 19 girls
and
7 boys.
Yes. It was just...
That's a lot. That's a lot of girls
I know.
compared to guys, too. But, like, that would just be terrifying because, like, you have to make the right choices in the right times. And don't make them mad so they don't shoot any of the kids.
Exactly.
And so they don't shoot you, too.
You
so
have to walk on
eggshells. Keep the kids protected. Like,
yep.
You have to, like, be completely careful.
It's so scary. It's like one wrong move and then it's all over.
Yeah.
Like, ugh, terrifying.
Just, like, it's scary. But go ahead, continue.
It is. He started to drive as the other 2 men patrolled the bus. Ed was fully aware that he and the 26 children in his company were in a very dangerous situation, one that more than likely they wouldn't be able to get out of anytime soon. As the masked gunmen drove into a nearby dry canal, Ed did his best to maintain his silence in fear that they would shoot him if he spoke up, even to reassure the children that everything would be okay.
So the gunman at this point took over the bus from Ed?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and then the other 2 were just patrolling, like, checking on the kids.
He wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Although the kids aren't going to do anything.
Yeah,
either. They're
seriously.
Probably terrified. Probably scarred for life.
Oh, yeah.
They're elementary school kids, right?
Yeah. Imagine, like, being an elementary school kid in this situation. Like, I would just cry the whole time.
Just like how school shootings happen.
Yeah.
Imagine being those kids. Like,
ugh, terrifying.
Like,
it's terrifying.
It's like, I don't know, like having kids is like one of my biggest fears.
Yeah.
Because like I would have to send them to school someday. And like you don't know what could happen on the bus. You don't know what could happen in the schools. You know?
Exactly.
Like, it's terrifying because people are crazy.
I know. And there's like so many stories of school shootings that you hear nowadays. It's like terrifying. Like, if I have a kid, I'm probably going to end up like cyber schooling that kid or something. Like,
it's terrifying.
It really is. The world is a scary place.
Definitely.
That's why we don't go anywhere alone.
Bringing that right back around.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. Let me find my place again. Okay. As a result of Ed's silence, the children began to ask questions, as children usually do, regarding where they were and their new destination. The youngest child on the bus, 5-year-old Monica Artery, became fascinated by one of the gunmen specifically, as the legs from the pantyhose covering his face were draped on either sides of his head, looking like the ears of a rabbit.
Oh. That's, like, so cute.
I know.
Like, She's trying to find the innocence in it.
Exactly. Like, she doesn't even know what's going on. All she could think of is, there's a rabbit on the bus.
Yeah, and, like, she's just so adorable thinking that. And, like, they're probably also asking, like, what's going on? Like, why are we doing this? Why are these people have guns and stuff? Like, oh my gosh.
It's so sad.
You said it wasn't so depressing.
It's okay. Well, it is depressing, but it's depressing to an extent.
I'm kidding. I know the ending, so
okay, good. Okay.
Monica's. I think I do.
Monica's innocent curiosity in such a life-altering moment further demonstrated to Ed the severity of the reality he found himself in, with children who were not even old enough to understand what was going on. Although Ed wasn't too sure what was happening either. At the base of the canal, the gunmen proceeded to herd Ed and the 26 children like cattle into 2 separate vans, forcing all of them inside one by one. Once inside, the gunmen slammed the van doors shut behind their prisoners and turned over the van's ignitions. The vans were stripped of anything functional and contained no food or water.
How did they fit all those people in one van?
No, there was 2 vans.
2? Okay. Yeah. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm, like, listening, but, like, my brain doesn't process it till, like, after the fact.
Know, it's okay. I do the same thing.
ADHD.
At its finest. Okay. As the vans began to drive off, Ed checked his watch and noted the time of their departure. Crowded in the back of 2 vans, Ed and the 26 children found themselves being driven 11 long hours with no bathroom breaks and no idea where they were headed.
And this was in the morning, too, whenever he was picking them up, right?
Yeah. This was, like, on the, like, whenever
he
was
taking them to school. So when they don't arrive to school, like, the school calls the parents.
Yeah, they did. I think I put something in there about that later on. That's okay. As the children were mostly young, the disregard for driving precautions caused the majority of smaller children to experience motion sickness. Many of the children had to throw up in the back of the vans, while other children tried to keep the younger ones... while the older children tried to keep the younger ones calm by singing to cheer them up. I know.
That's so sweet, but at the same time, so scary.
It is. By the time it was 3:30 in the morning, Ed and the children had been brought to a Livermore quarry nearly 100 miles from Chowchilla, where they had been abducted. Dazed and confused and absolutely terrified, Ed and the children were escorted out of the unmarked vans one by one. As they each exited, one of the masked kidnappers made each individual child state their name. Ed could not fathom what was going on, nor could he understand why he and 26 children were targeted for this attack.
Why did he make them say their name?
I don't know. It's just weird. I don't even understand.
Like, what's the point of that?
I don't know. I have no idea. Ed had started to assume the worst possible outcomes. The 3 kidnappers led each individual child further into the quarry. As Ed was ushered forward, he noticed that there was a moving van beneath them. A moving van that had been buried 12 feet under the ground. The only part visible around the dirt was the roof. At the top of the roof was a small opening and a ladder that was lowered inside of the van. Ed realized suddenly that he and the children were being herded deep into the van and they were going to be buried alive. Imagine imagine knowing that you're going to get buried alive.
I can't imagine that. I would get so claustrophobic.
Me too.
And I would start hyperventilating.
I would just... Ugh.
Because just imagine you're underground with all that dirt. It's probably heavy. And you can't see anything.
It's terrifying.
You're going to run out of oxygen probably really fast. It's just... I can't even imagine that.
I know.
I can't even fathom that. Like, it's just...
So scary.
Absolutely terrifying.
One by one, each of the children were forced to climb down the ladder into the buried moving van. Inside the van were a variety of dirty mattresses of all shapes and sizes, and quite a few containers of water and food.
How was the van moving if it was buried?
No, it was like a moving van.
Oh, I thought you meant it was moving.
No. I think I said it like moving van at first, and I was like, wait, I said that. I should have said moving van, just like...
I was taking it literally.
No, it's okay.
my fault.
No, I was thinking the
same.
It's
a van that you move stuff with.
Yeah.
I get that now.
Before Ed could even speak up, the kidnappers proceeded to close the steel plate of the roof of the van to cover the hole that Ed and the children had entered through. Then they heard a thump of dirt begin to be piled over the roof of the van, one shovelful at a time. Some of the children began to scream, and one of them even fainted.
I probably would too.
Me too.
Terrifying.
Definitely. Ed did his best to calm everyone down, but he knew that his own fears were quickly taking over his ability to stay calm. He was positive the roof could not hold the weight of the dirt being loaded on top of it. He feared it would inevitably cave in. With the van itself growing more and more stuffy, Ed looked around at the children, seeing their terrified faces, and then something peculiar happened. Wow, I said that right that time. Cool. The oldest boy of the group, 14-year-old Mike Marshall, stood up abruptly and stated that he was not going to die without at least trying to get out. What a warrior.
That's so brave.
I know.
Like,
he was only 14. I mean, like, even though he was the oldest of the group, like, still, like, me as a 14-year-old, I would be too scared to even say that.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Me as a 14-year-old, I was so shy.
Yeah, me too.
I did not talk to anyone.
Nope. Social anxiety. I mean,
exactly. Just trying to be that brave.
Yeah.
Like, I have to get out of here. Like, and thinking on your feet like that.
I know.
And Ed is being, like, amazing, too.
Oh, my God.
Trying to be, like, with these kids. Like,
he is
calming them down, keeping
hero.
them, like, calm. Like,
yep.
He's an amazing guy.
And, like, all these, like, thoughts are running through his head, too. And, like, the fact that he can keep all these kids calm and, like,
yeah,
you know,
because he's like, we're probably going to die.
Yeah.
But, you know, I have to make these kids feel like they're safe and, you know, let them know that I'm here for them and stuff. And, like, having to do that for yourself and 26 or 25 other kids or, like, people.
Yep.
It would be, like, I don't know if I would be able to do that. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how I would react in a flight response situation.
Same.
I have no idea, because this guy came up to me in Walmart the one day and was asking me if I can help him with something, and I was like, and I just looked at my boyfriend, and I was like terrified. I just froze.
Yeah.
And then, like, he was like, the guy was like looking at me, and I was like, I can't. I was like,
yeah.
And then he just turned around and asked somebody else, and I was like, was he trying to kidnap me? Because there was a Walmart worker really directly behind him, but he asked me instead, and I looked over at Jeremy, and I was just like,
I'm so confused.
And then Jeremy was like, are you okay? Like, whenever I went back to him, and I was like, sorry, I froze. I didn't know what else to do.
What could he want?
Like, I think he was trying to kidnap me. To be honest, I think he was trying to kidnap me.
Probably, because, like, why would you go up to just one specific female that's with her boyfriend first
Jeremy
of all?
was across the we were, like, in the produce aisle. I was by the bananas. Yeah. He was by, like, the onions.
Oh, geez.
A little bit further.
Yeah.
Almost by, like, the registers. And, like, this guy comes up to me, and there's literally a Walmart worker directly behind him that he looked at before he asked me if I could help him.
No.
And I, like, looked at Jeremy, I was like, help me. And then, like, Jeremy was like, what's going on? And I was just like, I literally froze and stared at the guy for, like, 2 minutes. And I was like, no. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. And I just, like, walked away.
I would do the same thing.
Now I know in that situation, I froze. So I feel like if I was in another fight or flight situation, I probably would freeze.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So them being, like, thinking on their feet and trying to, like, do everything they can up to this point to, like, keep each other calm, like, singing to each other and stuff like that, and, like, just this kid being like, I need to get out of here before, like, I need to try to get out of here. It's just amazing, because I probably would not have that reaction.
Yeah, me either.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay.
I do that a lot.
It's good that we're conversing to the listeners.
Even though some of the stories are completely unrelated, but
I'm sure you guys appreciate them. I hope.
I hope so. Sometimes I just think I'm annoying, so.
Me too. I do the same thing.
Like, I shouldn't have said
that. Ed stood up with Mike and had the two older boys help out as they planned their escape. The older boys, along with Ed, gathered the mattresses that were in the van and began to stack them on top of each other until the structure was tall enough for someone to stand on top of and reach the roof. Then the boys took their time climbing to the top of the tower of mattresses. While they were climbing, some of the other... Oh. Please hold. I just totally messed up my... While they were climbing, some other children handed them wooden slats from one of the bed frames inside the van. Once they reached the top of the mattress tower, the boys used the wooden slats to try and dislodge a steel plate that covered the hole in the roof of the van. As they pushed against the steel plate with all of the strength they could gather, Ed and the boys realized that the plate itself was being weighed down with 2 enormous tractor batteries, just in case the group of hostages tried to escape.
How big are tractor batteries?
Each battery weighed about 100 pounds.
That's crazy.
So that's 200 pounds sitting on top of
I can't lift that much.
No,
so.
Nope. Me either.
Where would you even get a tractor battery from?
I don't know. And what makes you think of, like...
A tractor battery.
A tractor battery. Like, seriously.
I guess that's what they had.
Yeah, I guess so. As the boys tried to move the steel plate and the 2 massive batteries on top of it, they felt themselves succumbing to heat exhaustion and extreme muscle fatigue, as they had not eaten in almost a day and were quite literally suffocating underground.
Imagine not eating for a day.
I know.
Imagine how hungry you would be.
And thirsty, I can't even.
Being suffocated underground,
yeah. And it's probably so hot and stuffy in there.
Kids
and
are
it's
amazing.
I know.
Yeah, just
they
imagine
really are.
How, because if you're running out of oxygen, it's gonna get stuffy. You're gonna start hallucinating at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's terrifying.
Some of the other children poured water over the boys' heads to try and cool them off. So that's good. They had water and food inside of the moving van. Like whenever there was mattresses and like food and water, but there probably wasn't like much of a supply.
Why did they give them beds, food, and water?
I don't know.
Like, because I'm gonna kidnap these kids. I'm gonna kidnap these kids and I'm gonna give them a bed, some water, and some food. Even though I'm kidnapping them, I'm still being terrible. But here I'm gonna be nice and give them stuff. What's wrong with you?
Were they thinking they were being a good person by
No, I hate. It freaks me out when like a serial killer, a murderer, whatever, a bad person that does these types of things, a kidnapper, whatever. And they like do something nice for you.
Yep, exactly.
It's like they're trying to calm you down after, like before, like they do something absolutely terrible to you, so you can like would trust them or whatever. But it's absolutely terrifying and freaky that
like acting like they didn't just do what they just did. Like
and they're like, oh, here, I'm gonna be nice to you now.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
What is wrong with you?
People are scary.
They really are. Despite all of their efforts, it seemed as though they were really trapped for good. As well, to their horror, the roof had started to collapse, slowly caving in. But then, with one well-timed push, the steel plate moved. In an almost unbelievable turn of events, Ed and the boys were able to push back the plate and watch as some of the dirt piled on top of the van spilled off of the roof. Ed helped lift one of the older boys out through the hole and instructed him to clear away some of the dirt and debris in an effort to make room for the other hostages. After that, Ed lifted the children through the hole in the van's roof one by one. Once the children were all cleared out of the van, the boys helped to pull Ed out of the hole. They managed to escape nearly 16 hours after they had been buried alive.
Just imagine
16 hours of being in that little space.
That's absolutely terrifying. They were
definitely with the roof caving in on you yet. Like
they were definitely running out of oxygen.
Yeah.
And the fact that Ed was getting the children out of there and was leaving himself for last just shows how much of an amazing guy he really is. He was like sacrificing himself in a way. Because like imagine like what would happen if he got all the kids out and like something would happen to him. Mm-hmm. Like at least he would be like, at least I saved the kids.
Exactly. Yep.
But it's good that they got him out too.
Yeah, it is.
He deserves to get out of there too.
For sure.
But it's also terrifying because like you're trying to get out of there and you don't know if like the kidnappers are outside.
Yeah, you don't know you don't know if they're out there like waiting for you or like
waiting to see if you would try to get out. And like what happens if they were there? Like it's terrifying.
It is terrifying. Ed and the children made their way to the quarry's guard shack near the Shadow Cliffs East Bay Regional Park in an effort to locate help. There they ran into a night watchman at the quarry though who, incredibly confused, offered to call the police and wait with the group for their arrival. Once local police arrived at the scene, they couldn't believe what Ed and the children claimed had occurred. When officers located the van, they were horrified about what happened and what happened to Ed and the children, and relieved that they had escaped. The investigation into who was in charge of the kidnapping did not take long, as one thing was incredibly clear to investigators. Whoever was responsible had to have access to the quarry for long amounts of time in order to bury a moving van of that size.
Yeah, just imagine how long it would take to do that.
Because it's huge, and how do they get it that far in the ground, you know? Like, that would take forever.
Yeah, so they definitely had this, like, premeditated and, like, planned. Mm-hmm. I wonder how long it did take them to do that.
I don't know.
Probably,
I didn't see anything about that. But
probably a long time. Probably. And why would you even do that?
I know, exactly. What is wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I make you lose your place all the time.
No, it's okay. I make myself lose my place.
Same. I forget everything.
Rather quickly, investigators were able to locate the quarry owner's son, then 24-year-old Frederick Newhall Woods IV, as he was known to access the quarry frequently during the summer. Once they found Frederick, police were quickly able to locate his two friends, the brothers, James and Richard Schoenfeld. Upon arresting all three of the young men within 2 weeks of the initial kidnapping, the story began to unfold right before the investigators' eyes.
So just imagine you are there, and then you have two friends that are just as crazy as you are and sadistic.
Yeah, seriously.
How do you get three people like that together?
Seriously. Did they go on like sadisticpeoplematch.org?
That has to be a thing, because people find people like each other, like themselves all the time.
Tinder for serial crime, murder,
like
kidnapper,
really? Like,
things like
I don't know. It probably happens. I don't know. Like how many? Like it's just crazy.
It is. So this was an actual news. Like this was an actual clip, like from the news. So I found this and I just wanted to play, like a real quick clip.
Talking is hard.
Talking is hard.
A bus carrying the youngsters and driver from a summer school session at Dairyland Unified School was found empty in a bamboo-covered area of the dry Berenda Slough. There is no doubt the bus was deliberately hidden in the thicket, and dust on the seats indicated the 26 youngsters were not aboard when the bus was driven into the slough. The mysterious disappearance would also indicate that at least two people had to be involved, one to drive the bus into the slough and another to guard the youngsters. There were other vehicle tracks on top of the bus tire tracks in the sand. Many of the worried parents were waiting at roadside, while others kept an all-night vigil at the Chowchilla police station.
So yeah, that was like a real fast clip, but yeah.
Just imagine being those parents being terrified they don't know where their kids are.
I know. And like not hearing from them for 16 hours.
And they probably thought that the bus driver had something to do with it.
Yeah, probably.
And like he really didn't. So they're probably like, oh, he kidnapped my children when he really didn't.
And he was such a hero.
Yeah, like, and like just imagine that. Like you don't know what's going on. You're terrified. Your children are missing. So you like
after they figured out that there were 3 people involved, and I'm sure like the parents, you know, quickly discovered that it was not Ed who was behind the whole
but at first they're probably
at first that would have had to be their first thought, because that was who was with them, obviously.
Was driving them to school. That's terrifying.
It is. Frederick, James, and Richard revealed to the police that despite coming from extremely wealthy families, the 3 of them had fallen remarkably deep in debt. As the men were in desperate need of money, they thought it was best to hold hostages for ransom, like people did often in movies. So they kidnapped the children on Ed's school bus as they all headed home from school because, as James claimed, quote, "We needed multiple victims to get multiple millions, and we picked children because children are precious."
Okay, how about get a job?
Exactly.
Don't kidnap children to get money.
Exactly.
Get a job.
Get a job.
Work for your own money. Don't hurt little innocent lives.
Exactly.
That makes me so mad.
It does.
It makes me so mad. Oh, I hate that. That's such a stupid motive.
It is.
Any motive's stupid, but still,
it definitely is.
Oh my gosh.
He said the state would be willing to pay ransom for them, and would be willing to pay ransom for them, and they don't fight back. What a way of thinking, buddy. You've got to be really messed up in the head to...
Because you don't think investigators and, like, detectives and police are going to, like, negotiate with you?
Exactly.
They're going to negotiate for the children, and then, like...
I feel like this is a case of, like, Dumb, Dumb, and Dumber.
Oh, yeah. Dumb, Dumb, and Dumber. Yeah. They're all dumb.
Dumbest, dumbest, and dumbest. That's what this is. That's exactly what this is.
And they're 24? So they're my age.
Yeah. Yeah, he was 24. I don't know if I can't remember if the...
Just get a job.
Exactly, just get a job.
You're 24. Like, I don't know. Oh, people make me mad.
It is now believed that the 3 kidnappers had been inspired by the story The Day the Children Vanished by Hugh Pentecost, as the details of the story and their kidnapping are remarkably similar.
That's a fiction.
Terrifying.
That's a book, right? Or is that a movie?
It's a book.
So you're gonna base your plan off of a fiction book.
Exactly.
A book that's not real. That somebody made up. Wow.
All we have to say is, what is wrong with you?
Exactly.
That's gonna be our new quote.
How does your wires in your brain get crossed that much?
Exactly. Seriously. Oh, it doesn't even... I can't even fathom it. I just can't.
That's also another thing that we say a lot.
Yeah, we can't fathom it.
Our slogans are, what is wrong with you? And we can't fathom
it. And talking is hard.
I'm going to make shirts with that stuff on.
Yes, we need them. Especially talking is hard. That is definitely that is our motto.
Yeah, I can't talk half the time. I don't even know how I even talk on this podcast.
Same.
Because I edit out all the parts that were wrong.
There's like an awkward silence after I mess up. I'm like, good thing editing is a thing.
Like, edit that out because that does not belong here. And boop, never happened.
That never happened.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. As well as the book Alfred Hitchcock's Daring Detectives was in Chowchilla Library and would have been accessible to them. So those were like the 2 stories that they apparently based their whole
Imagine basing a crime off of a book.
Imagine getting inspired by a book like that. That's freaking terrifying. Like, what is wrong with you?
That's all I have to say.
That is all we have to say. What is wrong with you? Okay, let me find my spot. Unfortunately for Frederick, James, and Richard, they had been unable to call in their intended ransom demand, $5 million, because every single family of the kidnapped children had been ringing the Chowchilla Police Department in search of their missing children. With clogged phone lines, the kidnappers had decided to wait a day to call in, and then, much to their dismay, they saw on the news that same evening that Ed and the children had managed to escape. Their plan had failed miserably, thankfully.
And they thought they were going to get $5 million.
$5 million. This is why it's dumbest, and dumbest.
Like, if you could just see my face right now. It's a face full of disappointment.
Exactly.
How could you do this? And why would you think this?
Just why?
Just why?
Why?
Is what my face says. It's literally why. Stamped all over my face.
And what is wrong with you? That's what my face says too. What is wrong with you?
Why do this to children? Because you want $5 million, okay?
Because you got yourself in debt. Pretty sure that's the last thing a normal person would think of. Like,
the first thing I think of is I gotta work.
Exactly.
Save the money.
I gotta get a job.
And save towards my goal that I'm saving for.
God.
Not go kidnap 26 people.
Hold them for ransom.
Because you...
for $5 million.
People are people.
People.
These people.
By the time the Chowchilla kidnappers went to trial, all 3 of them pled guilty for robbery and ransom. All 3 were sentenced to life with the possibility of parole. In 2012, Richard Schoenfeld was released from prison, and in 2015, James was paroled. Yeah. Those were Dumb and Dumber. And here comes Dumbest.
Are they sure that they're not going to try this again?
You got me.
Like,
I don't know. I just don't even understand how that even worked.
They probably were let out in good behavior or something.
Yeah.
And why did they get charged with robbery? Wasn't it like, shouldn't they got charged with kidnapping?
Yeah.
Because like
robbery of the kids. Like what?
Oh my god. Oh gosh. People are people.
People are people. Frederick Woods, on the other hand, as the main motivator behind the kidnapping, has been continuously denied parole over the years and remains in prison since his initial sentence. It is important to note that even though all 26 children in Ed Ray managed to survive a terrifying hostage situation back in 1976, the reality of the experience still haunts many of them to this day. Most of the children involved in the kidnapping suffered from anxiety, panic attacks, and a variety of nightmares involving kidnappings and death as a result of the trauma from the attack. That's so sad.
That is sad. But I would probably have that too. Like,
yeah.
Just imagine, like, that was the scariest time of your life, and you're probably afraid it's gonna happen again. And then, like, you were little, so that trauma sticks with you.
Yeah. That's so sad. Most of the children. Oh, I already said that.
That's okay. It happens.
It happens. In fact, most of the victims of the kidnappings even reported having continuous symptoms of trauma even 25 years after the incident. The horror that these children witnessed at such a young age was carried with them throughout the majority of their lives, all because 3 men spent money they didn't have and needed to pay back. There are plenty of ways to make up your money for the debt you owe, but this is definitely not one of them.
No.
Definitely not.
Never do this.
Never do this. Don't even think of this as a possibility.
Don't get inspired like they did by those books.
Exactly.
Wow.
Don't be dumb and dumber. Okay.
Dumbest,
yeah,
and dumbest.
Dumbest and dumbest.
That's
Don't
so
do
hard
it.
to say.
It is. It's a whole tongue twister.
My gosh.
After the incident, Ed Ray received the California School Employees Association citation for outstanding service as a result of his bravery and work keeping the children safe on that fateful day. The children gathered together on August 22nd, 1976, a little over a month after their amazing escape, to celebrate Ed Ray.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's so cute. I know.
It's like he is amazing for keeping those kids like calm and safe, and all the other kids, like older kids that were keeping everybody safe, also deserve.
He's such a hero. He really is a hero.
They're all amazing for surviving that. Like, that's amazing.
And if you guys want to see pictures of the kids, pictures of Ed Ray, and dumbest, and dumbest, you guys can look on our Instagram and Facebook and TikTok.
I said TikTok. Oh, weird. Okay, I'm editing that. TikTok, because I can't say it.
Yeah, so check out our pictures there.
And I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs barking. They're upstairs. You probably can hear them because they're really loud. Just a little FYI.
This is where, you know, it gets, like, sad but, like, bittersweet at the same time. I mean, like, you know. Ed passed away in 2012 at a nursing home in Chowchilla at the age of 91. Thankfully, after all this, he lived a long and hopefully happy life. Despite everything that occurred between the day of the kidnapping and the day he passed away, the children of Chowchilla never forgot what Ed did for them. In his last days, Ed was visited by many of the school children he helped save in the Chowchilla bus school kidnapping 35 years before.
That's making me tear up.
I know.
I'm literally crying right now.
I know.
That's so sweet that they, like, appreciated him that much.
All
that
those
whenever
years later.
Whenever he was, like,
dying,
that they came to see him because he is such a sweet man and he deserves that. And I'm literally crying.
I know. I love him. Like,
I'm literally crying. Oh. crying for happy tears.
Yeah, it's happy tears.
Because they all survived, but
exactly.
Still, this could have been avoided.
And he did live a long life. It wasn't like, you know, like, he really did. Like, he was 91. That's a long time.
Yeah.
In March of 2022, at 70 years old, Frank Newhall Woods IV was granted parole after appearing before a parole board 17 times. 17 times. And they said no every single one of those times. I feel like they just felt guilty and were like, you know what? Okay, well, anyways, he stated, I've had empathy for the victims, which I didn't have then. I've had a character change since then. I was 24 years old. Now I understand the terror and trauma I caused. I fully take responsibility for this heinous act. Although he seems to show remorse, and many of the children were able to forgive him, which takes a lot of freaking courage, because I don't think I would.
Anybody that can forgive somebody that has done something terrible to them, kudos to you.
Exactly.
You're an amazing person, better person than I would ever be, because I don't think I would ever be able to forgive somebody for that, because they did something terrible to you.
I don't think it'll ever make up for the years of trauma that these children endured.
But at the same time, I get it though, because sometimes people need to forgive them so that they can heal and they can move on for themselves. They're not forgiving them for them, but they're forgiving them for themselves, which so
they don't
I
have to carry that with them forever. It's like letting go in a sense.
Yeah, and you're healing.
Yeah.
But like, that's crazy. He said he had empathy after, but he didn't have empathy when it first happened. No, I think you're just sorry because you got caught and that you're in jail now. And that's
he spent all them years in jail. He's just probably just wanting to get out, so he's obviously going to say
he's like,
whatever.
Yeah, I'm sorry for all the stuff that I've done, even though I'm a terrible person.
I mean, even though he's like 70, I mean, clearly, I don't know.
You just shouldn't have done that.
No,
it could have
definitely
been
not.
It could have been completely avoided if you just did not do that.
Exactly.
And if you just got your own job. And I bet you wish that now.
Yeah.
Because all the time, like, working for the last however many years, 50 or whatever, because you're 70 now, or you were then.
Yeah.
You could have saved up money, and you could have had that $5 million theoretically, like, if you worked.
Yeah.
Just work for your money.
I think he would be 71 now, because I think that was 2022.
Yeah, but still.
So, yeah.
Like,
what is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you? And work for your own money.
Work for your money. Do not hold people for ransom for your money.
Get a job.
Just get a job.
Save money. I know inflation sucks and life sucks right now, but get a job. You can still save some of that money.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh. That story was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
But
it was a wild
to Ed and
one.
all those kids, like, you're all amazing.
Exactly. Ed, you were an absolute hero. We love you, Ed. We really do. We love you. Like, you were amazing.
That's just crazy. And, like, I'm happy that they survived.
Me too.
Because that could have gone so much worse.
Yeah, it could have.
They could have lost people because the gunmen could have been even crazier. But I completely forgot that they only did it for money. Like, I knew the story because, like, I heard it on a podcast, like, a year ago.
Yeah. But
then I forgot, like, some of the details about it. And then, like, as you were, like, telling me, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
Like, the pantyhose stuck with me. And the rabbit ears stuck with me. And whenever you first started, I was like, Ed, this sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Like, this name sounds familiar. Sounds so familiar. And it was. But I guess that story was a little bit happier.
Yeah, it was.
Than my last story.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely could have been a lot more depressing. But
oh, it could have been. I cried, so.
Yeah, we did. I did shed a little tear, when reading it the first time. Well, actually, the first time I heard this story, I heard it on TV. I can't remember what it was. Like, it was like some documentary or something. But it was on there, and they were like showed the pictures of dumbest, and dumbest. Oh. And so I was like, oh wow, they literally look like stupid.
Okay, I need to look up these pictures now.
You do.
Do you have them?
Yeah, I do. Here.
Let me see. Oh yeah. Are those the two that are brothers?
No, those are the two.
Oh, those two look more alike.
That's the one who was behind everything.
He looks so creepy.
He does. He really does.
They all, yeah. And then what does Ed look like again?
That's Ed.
Oh, he looks like such a sweet man.
He was. And this was all the beds.
That is terrifying.
And those are the boxes that had water and food in them.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. And then here's the picture of the kids.
Aw. Look how little some of them are.
I know. Oh. All those babies. This was whenever they got together. After.
Aww.
Like after the fact. It was so sweet. That's so sweet.
Well, there's Ed.
Yeah.
He's so, that's so cute.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out these pictures, check our social medias.
At Dreadfully Twisted
Podcast.
And if you want to send us cases, send us stories that you have went through. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's the moving van.
That's huge.
Yeah.
How did they get that? That must have taken like months.
Yeah. Seriously.
What's that? Is that like a...
Probably.
That's like a bulldozer.
Is it?
It looks like a thingy. They probably used that to like get the dirt out.
Oh, they could have, yeah.
Probably dug with that, and then they probably rolled over top of the...
Maybe that's how they... Well, no.
That could have been how they got him out, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But, what was I saying? Oh, if you email us at dreadfullytwistedpodcast@gmail.com, you can send us stories that you have gone through, some of your people that you may know have gone through. If you want to read their stories of them surviving things that are crazy, either true crime or paranormal or whatever, we're open to all that kind of like creepy stuff like that. Or if you want to send us cases that you think you would want us to cover or you want to hear about.
Yeah, send us in any kind of cases and we will cover them. So,
and
we are open to all suggestions.
All suggestions we are open to.
Yes.
And then you can follow us on our social medias, and then you can listen to us pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts. Almost. I'm getting there, trying to upload on all the platforms. And refer your friends and family if they like true crime or spooky stuff. And yeah.
Check on your friends.
Spread positivity
and love.
And stay safe, and
don't do stupid things like these people do.
And don't hold people for ransom for money.
Yeah, do not hold people for ransom. Just get a job instead.
Yes. And have a good day, guys. I don't know what else to say. We love you.
We love you. We love you guys.
Bye. See you next week.